Colleen Hoover. Then he managed to convince Blake Lively to star in it with him, and all hell broke loose.
Blake Lively is facing, let's break it down.
The girl, on the other hand, seems to be Team Blake, if there are even teams to be had.
Now, Liz was at the premiere last night.
I am very pleased to announce that it's finally over. It's finally dead and over because of Blake Lively, the actress.
Blake Lively's legal troubles just escalated once again. Despite already being in a heated courtroom battle with Justin Baldoni, new details have surfaced, making it clear that this legal storm is far from over. From shocking video footage to key allies quietly backing away from her defense, it seems that Blake Lively is struggling to hold on to the narrative. And now, with new defamation claims, leaked messages, and accusations of fabricated evidence, her situation is only getting worse. The latest development? A resurfaced video allegedly shows Blake admitting to lying, a revelation that could completely destroy her credibility in court. With the pressure mounting from all sides, will Blake be able to fight her way out of this scandal?
Okay, she went to bat for her lady, Blake Lively. She thought Blake was telling the truth. Other women supported Blake. You start to see that sort of momentum come, that avalanche of support, and you think you're on the right side of the story. A lot of people kind of go with the wind, and you know, we all fall victim to that. I've been on the wrong side of stories before. I have, absolutely. And I own up to it afterwards. I don't really think I delete any videos. I say, yeah, I got it wrong. Here's why I thought that way, and here's what I'm gonna try to do in the future to change my opinion. Now, if it comes out, Blake Lively subpoenas Justin Baldoni, some crazy piece of evidence comes out that we didn't have before, and I change my mind, I'll own up to it, and I'll just continue to try to find the truth. And I think most of my audience will appreciate that authenticity.
A bombshell video has surfaced, revealing previous questionable actions from Lively that directly contradict the image she's tried to maintain. If these claims are true, they paint a very different picture of Lively, one that suggests her current legal battle with Baldoni may not be as straightforward as she's portraying. Could this be part of a larger pattern of manipulation?
Colleen Hoover. Then he managed to convince Blake Lively to star in it with him, and all hell broke loose. She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her, and he claims none of that is true. There was absolutely no harassment. Those are made-up claims. She wrested his movie away from him and decided to try to hurt him with petty, made-up, out-of-context complaints when he pushed back even in the mildest way, and that she and her husband are bullies. And now it's resulted in vicious cross litigations against both of them. The New York Times is being sued for defamation by Baldoni through his lawyer, Brian Friedman, who's also my attorney, who's been on the show. And it's as vicious as it can get. He certainly wasn't at Ryan Reynolds level fame, never mind Blake Lively. And she bullied him into giving her the movie where she did her own cut. They released the cut of the movie. He didn't even get to see it. He was the director of the film, the producer of the film, the guy who got the rights to the film, the one who's supposed to be in control. He didn't even get to see it. He was in the basement at his own movie premiere. And then she had the nerve, because she had 2 minutes of bad publicity when the film hit, to come out and try to blame it all on him. None of it was just due to the fact that she seems like a rather shitty person. Your thoughts?
I mean, it's wild. She just pretty much said the whole problem here. It's like, if you hire the plumber and he climbs out from under the sink and says, now let's talk about how you've decorated the place. It's like, what are you talking about, man? I gave you a job.
How dare they hire an actor to act, you know?
Right.
Deal with a little bit.
And she tries to make it sound like a female
Ruthless.
empowerment thing, you know, like they just wanted me to be an actor. Well, yes. I mean, maybe someday you could be a producer or a screenwriter, but no one contracted with you to do that here. And that's another allegation, Holmes, is that she started to rewrite scenes that nobody had asked her to rewrite.
What? That's just wild to me. I mean, for the plumber thing is absolutely perfect. I mean, you hired somebody to do a job and they're like, well, hold on a second. I've got a different vision for your toilet.
Right.
I'd like to create a bidet.
Here's the other piece of it. One other piece of it. So she is accused of having turned the whole cast.
As if her legal troubles weren't already overwhelming, Blake Lively has now been hit with yet another lawsuit. The fact that lawsuits are piling up against her is starting to make it impossible to ignore the growing allegations. Is she a victim of a smear campaign, or is there a pattern of behavior catching up with her? One thing is certain, Blake's legal team is going to have a hard time fighting on so many fronts.
Blake Lively is facing, let's break it down. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. It's a Wednesday and we went live because we have so much to catch up on. I'm going to try my best. I don't have as much time today. Wednesdays usually are my off day from being live. But Kim's going to be live after us, so go support. It's Kim. We're going to join her over there in a minute. But Kim, I wanted to break. We're going to go through the timeline again. I owe part 2 of trying to breeze through the timeline. We're going to get there. But first, this dropped. This story never ends, Kim. Just nonstop lawsuits and fights and words. And now the infamous From the Shadows, Jed Wallace, is stepping up from Street Relations, and many people were assuming he would be included in Blake's updated lawsuit. That him and Brian Friedman potentially are names that have been carried around of like, who else is she going to include? And this infamous Jed Wallace character seemed to be one. Well, looks like Jed's not holding back. He's fighting back first. And nothing we reported on was false it was all watching Blake in her interview and watching Blake at this junket and watching Blake sell a booze brand. All of those things are truthful things. They're not made up crap and everything else. So we have to prove that Wallace was actually out there engaging in illegal activity. And then plus, Kim, I had a challenge, like, he didn't sign that agreement. He didn't sign the agreement when they made this deal that, Wayfair has to follow, blah, 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 blah. I mean, technically, I guess he's working for Wayfair. That's what they're going to try to do. But, I don't know. All of this seems a lot more complicated than the narrative that Blake keeps trying to spill. And now Wallace is out there fighting for his name, saying that Blake doubled down on her conduct by asking the judge to authorize the taking of his deposition by falsely accusing him of being a subcontractor to a company.
Blake Lively had a strong supporter in best-selling author Colleen Hoover, but in a shocking turn of events, Hoover has now deleted her public endorsement of Lively. This has sparked massive speculation about whether Hoover no longer believes in Blake's side of the story or if she simply wants to distance herself from the controversy. Either way, this is a major loss for Lively, who had been relying on public figures to help control the narrative.
The Blake photos deleted. Colleen Hoover reactivated Instagram, but all of Blake and It Ends With Us posts are gone. Now, I don't know if they're all still gone, but here's the one that I believe Candace Owens shared that is now back up. So she said, as Blake's friends and sisters for over 20 years. So Colleen Hoover shared what other actors who were friends with Blake shared. So this is a sharing of that, but it was deleted, which, is telling. As Blake's friends and sisters for over 20 years, we stand with her in solidarity as she fights back against the reported campaign waged to destroy her reputation. Throughout the filming of It Ends With Us, we saw her summon the courage to ask for a safe workplace for herself and colleagues on set. We are appalled to read the evidence of a premeditated and vindictive effort that ensued to discredit her voice.
Blake Lively was once one of the most adored figures in Hollywood, but now she seems to be losing the support of even her closest allies. It's not just fans who are walking away, but also industry insiders, celebrities, and even former supporters. Could this be the beginning of the end of Blake Lively's carefully crafted image?
The girl, on the other hand, seems to be Team Blake, if there are even teams to be had.
Now, Liz was at the premiere last night. She's only tagging Blake Lively. There's no mention anywhere of Justin.
Even though she's there to promote the film that her podcast co-host starred in, directed, and produced. Obviously, very, very weird. So knowing all of that and seeing all of that about the premiere, at this point, the general consensus on social media was that this was a mutual decision. This was, a creative decision from Blake and from Justin. It was kind of like a PR stunt, because here's the
Baldoni's legal team has now revealed new text messages, which they claim are proof that Lively engaged in a defamation campaign against him. If these texts prove to be legitimate, they could completely dismantle Lively's legal argument and severely damage her credibility. Could this be the final piece of evidence that turns the case in Baldoni's favor?
He's not saying that Blake Lively herself made these statements. He's saying that people in her camp did this, and the people in her camp made these statements on her behalf because they wanted to destroy Justin Baldoni. Some of the reasoning for that, they say, is that she was super angry with him and wanted to take him down because he had not let her take control of the entire film. Blake Lively tried to take over. She tried to take over the film, elbow him out, and the disintegration of their relationship. They were co-stars. He was supposed to be directing. He says he essentially got pushed out of that role, and the two of them ended up with him trying desperately to appease her. She refused, and finally he wasn't even allowed at the premiere of the film he was supposed to be directing. So that's how serious it was. Baldoni later received word that during the premiere of his movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds approached Baldoni's agency, namely an executive at WME, and expressed his deep disdain for Baldoni.
Perhaps the most shocking revelation yet, a newly uncovered video allegedly shows Blake Lively admitting to lying, and this could completely destroy her defense. If she has been caught lying in any part of this case, then it raises serious doubts about everything else she has claimed. Could this be the moment where her entire case falls apart?
Gabrielle has not seen this yet, but I have. And it's a new video of Blake Lively at some conference a couple of years ago where she was it's like a women's empowerment conference that she was given some stage time at. And it's like, talk to us about why you're so strong, Blake. And she had some very interesting things to say, given the nature of the
Given what's happening now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unbelievable, actually.
Hit me with it.
I will. Of course I'll hit you with it. Also, you guys.
But he's not going to yet.
Doesn't Gabrielle look so pretty? Look at how pretty Gabrielle looks
Thanks.
today.
I just did my makeup for y'all.
So
you're welcome.
Also, we have a big announcement, you guys.
We do.
We are going to start streaming every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30 a.m. Central. So
come join us.
You can look forward to that. That's going to be a new thing for the next 10 years.
The legal battle between Lively and Baldoni is intensifying, with Baldoni now fighting back against subpoenas filed by Lively's legal team. Lively's team is now trying to paint Baldoni as someone who is avoiding the truth. But if Baldoni is so confident in his case, why would he be pushing back against subpoenas? Could this suggest that there's more to this story than we know?
High school graduate and former cheerleader Blake Lively filed subpoenas against Justin Baldoni and many other parties, wanting a lot of information. She is needing receipts. The former B-lister has filed subpoenas not just against Baldoni, but also the billionaire co-founder of his production company, Steve Sarowitz, his producing partner, Jamie Heath, his publicist, Jen Abel, his crisis PR expert, Melissa Nathan, that digital guru, Jed Wallace, and even more people that work at his production company, Wayfarer Studios. Plus, she's filed subpoenas against phone providers, email providers, that they bragged and laughed at how negatively the narrative had shifted against Miss Lively. Pause. He never did that. His publicist and his crisis PR expert did that privately amongst the two of them. He had nothing to do with that. In fact, they included in their amended lawsuit repeated receipts where he was rising above it all. He was way cooler, calmer, collected, and kinder than I would have been against this Z-lister. Back to the spokesperson for the Khaleesi wannabe, quote,
Blake Lively has built her public image around female empowerment, but now many are accusing her of using feminism as a shield to escape accountability. Instead of standing for real issues, critics argue that she is trying to manipulate public perception by framing herself as a victim. Could this controversy permanently damage her standing in the feminist movement?
Very pleased to announce that it's finally over. It's finally dead and over because of Blake Lively, the actress. She has personally come down and ended modern feminism for me. And she did this by just being a modern feminist, also known as just generally being unbearable in today's world. We're gonna talk about that. Plus, we have Rabbi Shmuley. Yes, my friend or foe. He's back in the news because he's apparently filed, I'm not kidding, I'm not kidding, guys. An FBI report against me. I'm going to go to prison for a very long time. And in other funny news, the DNC happened. Let's talk about that. That's what we have coming up on Candace.
Another old video of Lively has resurfaced, and it could be the most damaging piece of evidence yet. If this video contradicts her claims in court, then it will be nearly impossible for her to argue that she has been truthful. This is a critical moment in the case, and one that could completely change the public's perception of her.
She was speaking at a Forbes Power Women Summit.
Yeah.
And she talked about...
She flexed her muscles.
Oh, did she? She definitely did. Talked about being hired as an actor, but wanting more, and how she secretly tries to take more power, essentially.
Disarm people with her beauty and then laser in with her creative vision.
When I would show up on a set, I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative.
In yet another shocking development, Baldoni's legal team has accused Lively of completely fabricating a 30-point no more list. If this claim is true, it would mean that Lively has been trying to manipulate the court and the media with false claims. This could be the final nail in the coffin for her legal defense.
May not be used without Blake Lively and her legal representative's prior written consent. Any scene by Blake Lively or another performer depicting the character of Lily that involves nudity or simulated sex must be conducted strictly in accordance with the above referenced nudity writer and must adhere to the Blake Lively approved script. An intimacy coordinator must be on set for all scenes involving nudity and/or simulated sex and must have a monitor to ensure compliance. No monitors to be viewed or accessible on set or remotely during closed set scenes except by Blake Lively approved essential crew and personnel. No more entering, attempting to enter, interrupting, pressuring, or asking Blake Lively to enter her trailer or the makeup trailer by Mr. Heath or Mr. Baldoni while she is nude for any reason. No more adding of sex scenes, oral sex, or on-camera climaxing by Blake Lively outside the scope of the script Blake Lively approved when signing on to the project. There are 3 more to this list, as shocking as that may sound. No more asking or pressuring Blake Lively to cross physical picket lines. No more retaliatory or abusive behavior to Blake Lively for raising concerns or requesting safeguards. And an in-person meeting before production resumes with Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Mrs. Sachs, the Sony representative, the new producer, Blake Lively, and Blake Lively's spouse, Ryan Reynolds, to confirm and approve a plan for implementation of the above that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Blake Lively, her employees, and all the cast and crew moving forward. So they signed off on all that and they said, okay.
Blake Lively is in serious trouble, with new lawsuits piling up, leaked messages proving defamation, and even former allies like Colleen Hoover deleting their support. Her case is falling apart faster than she can contain it. The resurfaced video allegedly showing her admitting to lying is perhaps the most damaging revelation yet. And if the new text messages are as incriminating as Baldoni's team claims, then Blake's legal defense could collapse entirely.
And Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they're like, here's our dick. We smack people in the face with it. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, hey, little Justin. Hey, Justin, how's your little baby dick, huh? How's your little baby dick, Justin? You know what I mean? It's like...
You're insane.
They really thought that they were going to come in there and just steamroll him. And I will, given how, like Nice Pool in Deadpool, like how they made the Justin Baldoni. Clearly, Ryan Reynolds did see this guy for what he was. You know what I mean? It's like you build your whole brand around being a male feminist. Like, that's your whole fucking brand?
Yeah.
What is more disingenuous than that, dude?
Not many things.
Right? Okay? If you're a man, you should be a male feminist.
With her credibility crumbling and more shocking revelations still to come, the real question is, how much more damage will she take before this case is finally over?